The Creator is a movie that, even with the usage of various tropes, managed to create a very rich, centered world with an interesting story. Those tropes being of unwanted events turned into an opportunistic chance at redemption through protecting a child and becoming a parental figure to them, and the robots have feelings we've seen in some movies, either as the main plot or subplots. As much as I would have liked for there to be more scenes to get to see the world more, what we got was sufficient enough to follow along the story. With the word Nirmata being defined as the first thing we see, we understand that it'll be significant to the message and story. AI is being integrated with everyday society. However, with a nuclear warhead being detonated in Los Angeles, the West waged war on the machines. 10 years later, the war continues to rage on. A simple story that we can easily follow with the visuals we were given. From the opening to the catalyst, I felt that, so far, it has been executed well. We understand the world the protagonist lives in. We know his stance on the matter in terms of the theme. And most of all, we understand the conflict and where the movie is going to go. From Break Into 2 onward, I continue enjoying the movie with only wishing to know more about the world they live in. The protagonist is thrown into this new world when he returns to New Asia in the hopes to be reunited with Maya. After finding Alpha O, he makes the decision to keep her alive as she knows the location of Maya. Defying orders, he goes to various places, advancing the plot by his own actions, to inevitably get a change of hearts that propels him into Act 3. In short, everywhere he goes, something happens that continues the story, obviously. And while there isn't anything wrong with that, I just wanted a scene or two where we see the world as the heroes traverse it. For example, being on the run, they hitch a ride. They end up stopping at a bus stop where they get on a bus and head to Drew. We didn't get a chance to see how people live in this world, how things work, or even how they're being tracked. It doesn't hurt the movie negatively by not showing it. I only bring it up because of my own personal wants to see it. And another reason why I would have liked to understand the world more is so I wouldn't be confused later on. When it is revealed certain information that comes into play in Act 2B, when it does mention this information, it is supposed to motivate and change Tyler's perspective on AI, and by proxy, us, the audience. But I was left more confused than anything about how it was even possible. I have mixed emotions when it comes to the thematic message of robots being sentient and being more human than human. I don't know how I feel about this matter, especially in the way it was delivered. Putting aside my differences, I still enjoyed the movie because of the world-building aspect to it. When it comes to story and structure, I like how the protagonist was presented and how we can visibly see his change through the journey he ends up being in. How intriguing and mesmerizing the events were that ended up having a strong impact towards the viewer, giving us reasons to empathize with not just the protagonist, but with each character. We understand where they're coming from because of situations they're in, the current conflict, and their actions. A scene we can see this in is when the Americans harass the natives into telling them the entrance to where Alpha O is. Their evil tactics counter the humanity of these natives, allowing us to see both sides of their mentality. It was just a message about Nirmata and the act of playing God I couldn't get behind, because we're supposed to care for these actions. We've seen other movies where one of the antagonistic themes the movie has is playing God, as opposed to this one where it is looked at as a positive thing when it comes to AI and the sentient robots. I couldn't fully get behind that. But that's just me. Overall, The Creator was a very unique movie that was enjoyable to see. I am not too keen on the thematic message this movie had altogether, but I was able to still see it used in the story very well. It had structure, it had character, and most importantly, it had heart. The only thing I would have just liked to see more of is the world these characters live in.